Some migrants who cross the Channel in small boats will be electronically tagged under a 12-month pilot scheme in England and Wales run by the Home Office. Ministers say tagging will help maintain contact with asylum seekers who reach the UK by what they call dangerous routes. Critics say people who have fled war and persecution shouldn't be treated in the same way as criminals. Simon Jones reports.
Another busy week for the border force in the Channel. More than 1,000 migrants brought to shore after being picked up at sea. The government says it will seek to remove those who have passed through several safe countries before claiming asylum in the UK. And as part of a year-long pilot scheme, some of those awaiting deportation will be fitted with electronic tags. Officials say there's a greater risk that migrants facing removal will abscond. Launching the project, the Home Office says there has been an unprecedented growth in irregular migration. The pilot will test whether electronic monitoring can improve and maintain regular contact with asylum claimants who arrive in the UK via unnecessary and dangerous routes. For those facing removal, there may be an increased risk of absconding and less incentive to comply with any conditions of immigration bail. The first to be tagged are set to be the asylum seekers who successfully challenged their removal to Rwanda this week. The flight to Kigali grounded following last-ditch legal challenges. It's not clear how many people will be tagged in the pilot project or how keen immigration judges will be to introduce electronic monitoring as part of any bail conditions. People who don't comply could be returned to detention or prosecuted. But the Refugee Council says it's appalling that the government is intent on treating people who have fled war, bloodshed and persecution as criminals.
I think this is a nasty, callous, cruel way to treat people who, through no fault of their own, have had to flee for their lives to try and find a country that should be welcoming them.
The tagging isn't necessarily of itself a deterrent, but I think the fact that if we are able to start sending people back, either to France or to source and transit countries or even to Rwanda, that might make migrants think twice.
Simon Jones, BBC News.
UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson had this to say about the scheme a little earlier.
We're very proud of what we do to welcome people to this country. Don't forget, this is a country. Just in the last couple of years since I've been Prime Minister, we've had, I think, more than 100,000 people come from Hong Kong. You remember the 15,000 Afghans, many people coming from Syria, and now well over 115,000, 120,000 visas given to people from Ukraine. This is a very, very generous, welcoming country. Quite right too. I'm proud of it. The government is composed of people, as you know, Tom, who trace their immediate lineage to people who've come in fear of their lives to this country. But when people come here illegally, when they break the law, it's important that we make that distinction. That's what we're doing with our Rwanda policy. That's what we're doing with making sure that asylum seekers can't just vanish into the rest of the country.
Meanwhile, the leader of the opposition Labour Party, Sir Keir Starmer, says the scheme shouldn't be adopted.
I don't want to see anybody making that dangerous journey across the Channel, and I absolutely want to see us clamp down and end the trafficking, these criminal gangs that are running this. That requires a grown-up, serious response, working with the French authorities and cracking down on the gangs upstream. I don't think the government's plans are going to achieve that. On the contrary, they're actually asking the National Crime Agency, the one agency that can actually do this work breaking these gangs, they're asking them to plan for significant cuts.